But with that, there was quite a lot of games that we can kind of gloss over, so we'll do that. And the first was West Brom at Newcastle. I think Aaron on top of the table, Pick'em, had a great quote, which is, well, first of all, I'm not going to be watching this game. It was a 7 a.m. game on Sunday, Isaac. I'm assuming you were not able to tune in.
I missed out on this one, yeah, and I am very glad I did.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to be said. Happy for West Brom that they were able to at least not lose. Aaron, we talked about that. Yeah. This would be an opportunity for them and for Sam Allardyce to start to do what he was brought to do, which is save relegation, but I don't think that's going to happen, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, it was an opportunity for both of these teams to do something positive, and neither of them. I guess a point for both is decent. I did hear a funny stat, and I can't remember it word for word, but that I'm not sure how many years it's been since a team with stripes has won the Premier League, but it's something absolutely ridiculous. So there's another reason not to ever watch these two teams, because they will never win the Premier League.
So they're so stripy.
I am curious what the alternative kit was for one of these two teams. But yeah. All right, well, next we had Brighton and Leicester, and unfortunately I can't toot the horn this week, Isaac, but it was close. Yeah. It looked close. Now, we have to remember that, and I didn't necessarily mention this maybe enough last week, Leicester is ravaged with injuries. They're having a really hard time. I think there's like Barnes, Madison, the list goes on. Justin is out for a long time, I think, with a pretty serious injury. Yeah. But they were able to pull this one out, and it was in pretty impressive fashion. So good for them.
That's Leicester. They stick around. I think they're right now 6 points clear of fourth place Chelsea. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Chelsea has a game in hand, but whatever. So despite the injuries, and Vardy was out for a few games, that's what Leicester does. They hang around. And Brighton, it's like I want them to just do better. Yeah. But I also want Fulham to stay up. So like I gotta say, good on Brighton coming out strong, but eventually you gotta get results. So we'll see how they turn out. But yeah, Leicester, they're doing what Leicester does.
Yeah, they're making me feel uncomfortable as a Man U fan in terms of the fight for kind of being the best of the rest there in second place. And yeah, I mean, Brighton started this game well, but they just couldn't hold on. And I agree with you. I want to see them do well because they play attractive soccer and they're fun to watch, and they have some good players going forward, but it just hasn't quite all come together for them.
So we would all agree that if it was between Newcastle and Brighton, we would want Newcastle to go down?
Not to pick favorites, but...
1,000%, yes.
I will be the first one then. Isaac and I will pick a favorite. We like Brighton. Good. Just glad we agree on that. And Aaron, begrudgingly, maybe we could convince you of that. And then another one to gloss over was Southampton beating Sheffield United, which they had to do, Isaac. I mean, at some point, Aaron, I think, used the word free fall when we were talking on Friday. They had to win this game. They had to end the drought.
Yeah, and I mean, Sheffield is just that team this year that no matter how tough your form has been, if you're any other team in the EPL, this is a game you can go in being excited to pull the 3 points out. Unless you're Liverpool, I guess. But
right.
Other than that, yeah.
I think at this point it's an interesting question to ask. Do they start kind of mentally just preparing for next season if you're Sheffield and like making that transition?
That, first of all.
What was that?
So I feel like they've been doing that.
Yeah, I feel like that must be just a very hard transition to like prep for as a team. Like you drop down and you've just gone 38 games where you've won, 2 maybe over those 38. And yeah, how do you mentally just reset for a whole new campaign after that?
I would ask you, Aaron, like, how do you do it? How do you start that now? Like, what does that process look like now when you know that you know that you're going to probably lose or draw the rest of your games? Maybe you'll get another win.
Because I think it is very easy if you're in this kind of position to then pull a Sunderland where you just drop down from division to division and just keep going on that slide. So.
But Isaac made a great point about that. And Isaac, talking about picking players, right? That probably won't happen for Sheffield.
Yeah, I don't see any Premier League team going after... Well, I will admit, I am not a huge... Like, I don't know a lot about the Sheffield squad, but there's a reason for that, I think. McBurney, it came from Swansea, did okay last year, hasn't really showed up this year. So unless you're a team like Newcastle who needs a center striker, even though they've had those in the past and still haven't been able to have much of an impact. I don't see the squad changing too much. But they will need to, I think, in order to stay in the championship, they still need to improve their team. Because right now, I think they'd still be struggling in the championship.
Wow. Yeah, the one player that I immediately think of that will probably stay in the Premier League when they go down, is Aaron Ramsdale. I think their goalkeeper is probably he's Premier League quality and would probably end up going to another team.
Give me one or two Premier League keepers that you'd like him over, if you can.
Oof.
I don't know. It's not one doesn't come to mind, at least for me. Obviously Kepa, but he's gone. He's history.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams kind of at that lower end of the table would still take him.
It's interesting though. Yeah, interesting.
Didn't Man U's keeper who started today, wasn't he from Sheffield?
Yeah, Dean Henderson. He was loaned to Sheffield. Yeah. He's an academy product, but
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.